Yes.
Senator Parent.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. We heard from the Secretary of State's office earlier, just a couple hours ago, that they've investigated this repeatedly, that they had a monitor on site the entire time. And frankly, this has been debunked for weeks by our Secretary of State's office.
I doubt he's seen the video.
Evidence, then I think the courts will probably be able to handle this once you present your evidence to them. I have seen, as no doubt all of you have, the people's concern, our constituents' concern about our elections. I want them to know that I heard their voice. And I want to make sure that all of you have heard it too. Some of you may think it's sour grapes or whining over the results of the last election. You may think some of the claims are specious. You might just think they're wrong. But I'm not up here opposing this legislation to fit anybody's narrative. I've done my own homework, and what I have learned is deeply troubling. So even if you think that the machines can't be hacked, that all votes are fairly counted, we still need the people of Georgia to believe in the process. And right now, they are unconvinced. As I'm aware, there have been about 40 lawsuits dismissed already. And according to the law of the state of Georgia, we do not have the power to submit alternate electors. The provision in the law is quite clear at 21-501F.
Is there a question?
Senator, we'll ask questions. We'll have a time for statements at the conclusion.
And it puts the cost of the machines that we are mandating the state to buy at $90,000 more than hand-marked paper ballots. Even more troubling, in addition to the failure to release the proposals and numbers, the Secretary of State's office has actually peddled false numbers. The FreedomWorks letter that you have on your desks that decried this and said, the Secretary's analysis is like comparing the cost of buying a Chevrolet plus insurance, gas, and repairs for 10 years to the cost of buying a Bentley and then trying to insist that the Bentley is cheaper. And the letter continues. The Secretary of State would so gravely mislead the legislature on the costs of HB 316 is deeply troubling. And it calls this bill, these machines, a boondoggle for the vendors and an enormous waste of taxpayer dollars. Folks, this would be the biggest contract ever in the industry. It is 1/2 the annual industry business total of $300 million annually, 1/2 of it. Is there any surprise that the vendors are salivating over the notion of getting this contract? Is there any wonder that voters across the state and across the country are raising their eyebrows about what exactly is going on here? Yeah, my question is, since this has been debunked repeatedly, what evidence can you give to us that counters what our elections officials have presented us with only an hour ago?
You just saw it. Your officials need to watch the video.
The machines are not secure. The consensus of cybersecurity experts and computer scientists and our nation's premier National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine state that the best voting technology that's available is hand-marked paper ballots with a human-readable ballot marking device available for disabled voters. What about the fact that they say that they had a monitor there the entire time?
I can't speak for them.
Well, thank you.
They did not have the video.
They said they had a monitor the whole time.
Okay.
You're looking at the room.
There's no Secretary of State.
Then maybe we should invite them back in.
All right. Well, we may need to do that. Senator Tiller.
They are unauditable. We had a little bit of a discussion earlier about auditing, and there are two big problems that I want to point out. The reason folks say they are unauditable and studies indicate that they are unauditable is because there's been an interface between the voter intent and the actual ballot that serves as the vote of record. So when you hand mark a paper ballot, your intent is captured right on the vote of record. When you interface with the machine then has to record the voter intent. Unless the entire ballot is printed out and voters take notes, it is impossible to accurately verify the ballot. We all know that there are dozens of, unopposed judicial races. There are constitutional amendments. Folks, we are kidding ourselves if we think that people can remember the entire ballot. We can't even do that. What a joke. Which means it is easy to have races added or subtracted through malware. It's just not hard to do. So therefore, and even if that weren't a problem, that voters did have photographic memory and they would be able to accurately recall the ballot when they're, the entire ballot that they just voted on the machine when they're staring at the piece of paper, over half of voters aren't going to take the time to do it. And that is a problem because you know what? It's not their job. The voter's job is to vote. The voter's job is not to have to worry about the accuracy of the machine. And we, on this, put the onus on the voter to worry about the accuracy of the machine. And there's no reason for it. If there were a reason for it, maybe that would be acceptable, but there's just no reason to do it that way.
Senator Gooch?
Maybe a question for Senator Parent. I heard you say several times this has been debunked, but I also just heard that this video just appeared last night. So how could it have been debunked?
Well, my response, not being an expert, is that these very allegations came up right away after the election, almost a month ago, and have been repeatedly discussed by the Secretary of State's office, including everything that we're seeing here. It's already been mentioned how an additional flaw just came out, I believe Friday or Saturday, regarding these machines that were mandating the state to buy. There's an all-in-one function whereby even after the quote-unquote verification, the voter feeds the ballot back into the machine. Races can be added, lines can be added to a barcode, which invalidates the entire ballot, and it would be unreadable, and the voter would have absolutely no idea. Barcodes are another problem because if those are what's actually scanned, and the voters will feel betrayed by that, then what they're even attempting to verify, they will understand that they can't verify it because they can't read it anyway. So I could go on and on, but there's like 8 problems with this so-called, ability to audit. The audit language itself in this bill is extremely weak. It doesn't require any risk-limiting audits except for the pilot program, which is in one county. It doesn't require them after that. So all this talk about audits, not only can you not even do them with these machines, the bill doesn't even say we're gonna have them anyway. What a joke. The pre-certification audit isn't even a risk-limiting audit in this bill. It's a tabulation audit, and there is a difference. Shame on any of you who have not bothered to ask that question. When you dig into this legislation and you see all of the open questions, you just start scratching your head. Why on earth would we buy less secure machines that are opposed by the voters, opposed by national security experts, at risk of being decertified right now in New York, are far more expensive than the hand-marked paper ballots, are possibly going to be decertified by the national election authorities within 2 to 4 years when we're taking out a 20-year bond, and you start saying, why on earth would we buy these things? I have been baffled, absolutely baffled. This is not a partisan issue. You don't do voting machines on a party line vote. This is crazy. And so I'm like, what is going on here? I've been given absolutely no good reason why we should buy these things. There's not one good reason. So therefore, it just reeks of corruption that we're prioritizing vendors over voters. I want you folks to know that one of the individuals in the governor's office is still registered as a lobbyist for the top vendor that this bill appears to have been written for. His lobbyist credentials haven't even been terminated from that vendor. Come on, this is a joke. All voters oppose this, right wing, left wing. The only people that don't are the ones that want the contract to be as big as humanly possible. Well, I hope that we've expose what is going on here. I think this bill is quite a debacle. I think that anyone that votes for it will have been derelict in their duty to the voters and taxpayers of Georgia. And I think it's going to be a big problem from our state for years to come. And there is no reason to vote for it. And I'm shocked that it has gotten that far. And no one should vote for it without getting all these questions answered. We need the numbers from this morning analyzed. We need a fiscal note. We need to know what's going on with the New York machines. It is inexplicable why no one cares what the answers to those questions are. Just inexplicable. And therefore you have the whiff of corruption. And it stains this body that we're passing it.
But is this
And
not
there have
the-
been explanations for all of it.
Is this not the first time
Well-
this video has been shown?
I believe that this is the
Yes.
first time this video has been
Yes.
seen.
And
It
the-
is.
And
That's
the news
correct.
media hasn't seen this video or have not?
They have
put it
not.
out? They have
That's
not
right.
Because
put it
I've been
out?
in contact with counsel for this State Farm Arena.
Giving the right message matters.